Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 13th. This is Red Sea Roundup, and I'm your host, Gene Wilhelm. And this is the feast of St. John Chrysostom. Well, that's easy for somebody else to say. And his title really means golden-tongued. He was a homilist or sermon a person who was really something else. And as a matter of fact, he actually has his own set of readings for his feast day, which I found out this morning. Also, a little later in the show, we're going to be talking with Brien Smith about Catholic stewardship. And so if you'd like to join into the conversation with Brien and me, call 85-LOVE-RED-SEA. That's 855-683-7332. I'd really like to talk to you about that. Also, I have with me today Thaddeus Romansky. How are you doing, Thaddeus?
Good morning, Gene. How you doing?
Well, I am almost as good as you. You're on top of the world this morning.
Hey, I like being on the radio with you, man. Not that I don't like being on the radio with the other hosts. I love all of y'all, but I like being on with you, man.
What's going on with you these days and with Red Sea Radio?
Well, we are just charging hard to the end of the year, and we're getting ready for the 5th annual benefit, October 27th, at the St. Thomas Aquinas Parish Activity Center.
And who's going to be the special speaker, in case people have not heard?
We are going to have the host of the nationally broadcast relevant radio show, Sheila Logminas. Her show is A Closer Look. Mm-hmm. She was with NBC for a long time, back in the, I think, 1980s, early 90s. So she's got secular news media experience.
Because that also helps to give her a slightly different perspective on what she's looking at.
Oh, sure. And she's very good at calling to account the journalistic structure about how it covers Catholic issues that are important to questions about human dignity, life,
now,
family.
If somebody was interested in this, they need to find out when. You've already told us where and how they can get tickets to the benefit.
Yes, indeed. The benefit's going to be starting at 6:30 on October 27th. You can register now. Easiest way to do it, like so many things these days, go to our website, redsearadio.org, and there are some banners with her image. You can click on that banner. It takes you to the sign-up page. You can purchase individual tickets or get yourself a table.
Now, how many friends would I have to have in my whole life to be able to have a table?
Gene, I mean,
it's 10 or 12.
Do you even really have to worry about that? I mean, you've got gobs and gobs and gobs of friends that you could sponsor. You could probably sponsor 3 or 4 tables.
Well,
amount of friends that you have.
If I'd had Brien as my financial planner, I might be able to do that.
Maybe he can do some short-term work to fix you up.
Okay.
No, I think about 8 to 10, but
I was thinking it's about 10, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Having been at the banquet a couple of times before.
And also, we would love it. We would really appreciate it, people, if they wanted to hit the volunteer link on the website, and they could volunteer to either help set up or especially take down, because it's been Dennis Maka and the Maka kids doing a lot of the takedown in the past, I've heard.
Some of us old fogies have to get to bed, and so we don't help as much with takedown as we do.
Dennis Maka just clarified me via text message. It is 8 people at a table.
8 people at a table? 8 people.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I might be able to find 8 friends.
I think you could round up 8 friends very easily.
Okay, now you've got some other things that Red Sea Radio is going to be participating in and actually doing live broadcasts. What are those, Thaddeus?
Okay, well, we're privileged to be at the St. Thomas Aquinas Fest on September 25th, Sunday, September 25th. We're going to be broadcasting out there for a few hours.
And Aquinas Fest is going on the 23rd through the 25th.
That's right. I think they start off with bingo on the Friday night.
And I don't remember. You could look at the St. Thomas Bulletin or the website.
They're going to have like a luau kind of a theme on Saturday night. They're going to have a watch party for the A&M Arkansas game. Whoop. And and then all the jumping castles and the horses and the silent auction.
Well, I think I would like to.
They're even going to have a super silent auction. I'm not even sure what is this. What is super? What's a super silent auction?
Well, I'd sure have difficult with being the silent part, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. You would. You're super talkative.
Okay,
the
and
gift of gab.
There is one other place that you're going to broadcast
right,
from.
And then October 2nd, we're going to be at the Santa Teresa Jamaica. That's their parish festival. We're going to be broadcasting from there.
Now, are they going to do their Sunday morning program from there then?
Yes, David Gonzalez is going to be doing his Sunday morning broadcast, La Voz Católica.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad.
And we've been in touch with Avelia. She's our contact there, and they're lining up folks to have on the radio. So it's going to be fast and furious.
Yes, it is. I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
That's going to be interesting for our listeners.
Yeah. So I think right now we've got probably Dennis is going to be at Aquinas Fest, and then I'm going to be at Santa Teresa.
Okay. Because
my son is getting baptized on the 25th, so I have to make some choices.
Yeah, I think you're making the right choice.
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot going on, too. Now, you've got some that are old enough for religious ed, and so that is, for most parishes, that's started, and there's still opportunities to join religious education for our children.
Yeah, let's hear about some of those opportunities, Jim.
Well, there are almost every parish has some sort of an RE program, and if you look at the parish bulletins or the parish websites, and incidentally, if you'd like to see a bulletin for a parish, a good place to do that is from redsearadio.org. Look at the resources button and down to the churches, and most of the churches have a bulletin there, so you can get all the information here that you get from that.
Indeed.
And so, but there are also a lot of opportunities for adults for religious education that I've noticed when I was looking at some of the bulletins for this last week.
Oh, yeah?
St. Thomas has something, I guess, before the 11 o'clock Mass, and there's actually something for men, I think, at 5:45 in the morning at St. Anthony's. And there's just plenty of opportunities that if someone has a desire to increase their knowledge of something about Catholicism, their faith in Jesus, or just in general become a better Catholic, there are certainly a lot of opportunities. And
don't you know something about a men's faith formation group here at St. Mary's? Don't you do something with that?
Every now and then. Yes, on Monday afternoons at noon, we have a men's Bible study that meets. We try to start within about 5-10 minutes of noon, and we try to stop exactly at 1 o'clock.
You have some individuals who make sure that you stop at 1, is that right?
Yes, I have an attorney friend who shall remain nameless that tells me when it's 1 o'clock.
Right. He enjoys that job.
He does. And I actually got back at him a couple of weeks ago. He was talking, and I saw the clock at 1, and I told him it was 1 o'clock and we needed to finish. But we have a number of men there, and it varies depending upon men's schedules, from about 12 to sometimes 24, and we study the readings for the following Sunday's Mass. And I'm sorry, ladies, it's just men, and we sure have a good time when we're there together. Nobody is safe from a little bit of a jab every now and then.
Yes, that's true.
Including our guest today, Brien Smith.
That's true, and we love it too. Every Monday.
Okay, so we've got that, and there are just plenty of opportunities. Look at the bulletins and go on. A couple of things that I'd like to talk about before we go to break. There are a lot of things that are going on, but I'm just going to talk about two of them that I think are very important. One is the St. Vincent de Paul Society is looking for volunteers. As they come upon Thanksgiving and Christmas, they have a lot of opportunities to serve people, and they need some help with doing this. So you can contact Esther Miranda at esthermiranda@yahoo.com, or you can call 979-676-0724. That's 979-676-0724. And they just do so much good work, and they're not asking you to commit your eldest child or the rest of your life to St. Vincent de Paul. They're just asking for some help, especially during this time. Another one, for those of you, especially somebody who would be speaking Spanish, Santa Teresa has got 3 job openings that they have posted at the current time. a maintenance caretaker, a receptionist administrator, assistant, and a director of religious education. You can get more information about this at the Santa Teresa office. So that would be just really, that's a good thing to do.
Indeed.
And so with that, why don't we take a quick break and get to Brien. Welcome back to Red Sea Roundup. This is Gene Wilhelm, and we will be talking to Brien Smith, who is a certified financial planner. Now, what does that mean, Brien? What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you're ready to be committed. It means something else. But you are committed to your clients. But what does it mean to be a certified financial planner?
It is the designated designation in the financial planning industry, similar to CPA in accounting. Mm-hmm. So what it means is that you are committed to the industry. You've also, as well, committed to your clients by taking a lengthy education area in all 6 key areas of a holistic financial plan, everything from estate planning to income tax planning, education planning, protection planning, and current areas where you are with net worth, income, things like that. So it covers all 6 areas, but it is a very rigorous. Rarely do we have over a 50% pass ratio. It is a 2-day, 8 hours each day, Gene, test. Actually, a little harder than the CPA test because it is all or none. Unlike the CPA where you can pass 2 parts and take the other 2 parts later, the CFP, Certified Financial Planner designation, you must pass everything, all or none. And right now it's about a 50 to 60% pass ratio.
Wow.
Then after you pass the test, you must already have 3 years in the financial services area. You can be in banking, insurance, finance on campus, but you must be in the financial services field. After you pass the test, and only after you pass the test and you have the 3 years, you can then call yourself a certified financial planner practitioner, which is technically the term that I use. You also must have ethics and at least 30 hours of continuing education every year or every 2 years. Technically, they're talking about boosting that. But the ethics are the big thing because every month there is a panel that takes the CFP designation away from people. So it is but the premier and best designation to look for in a financial planner.
So if somebody was trying to find a financial planner and that person didn't have the certified financial planner practitioner designation, should they be a little concerned that that person may not have all the knowledge that he or she needs or may not have their best interests at heart all the time?
Not necessarily, but usually that is correct. There are bad CFPs, just like there's bad apples in any industry or any, but the ethics and integrity of CFPs is above and beyond any other designation, and there's a ton of them out there.
So it's not really that any denigration of people who don't have a CFP. It's just that if you find somebody with a CFP, it's more of a protection for the individual or the couple that is going to a financial planner.
Not only the protection, but I've committed that I will keep up to date on all the latest in tax planning. Taxes change every year. All the latest in estate planning, that's changed hugely in the last couple years. I keep up with investments, and investment planning is really big, especially the way the market's been so volatile in the last couple days. So when I go down to Houston today, I'll be in a 3-hour course, half of which will be actually about the new fiduciary laws, which are huge in our industry, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but also about investment planning and the latest in investment planning given our current economic and investment area.
Now, would you help me a little bit? I hear the word fiduciary all the time, and I don't know that I really understand what the word means. So you talk about something fiduciary. What does that mean? And so for other people like me that maybe don't really understand fully what the concept means.
Well, Gene, I'm glad you asked. It's huge in the industry right now, and the Department of Labor just solidified and just passed laws that say just about everybody in our industry now must come up to the level of fiduciary. In a nutshell, fiduciary says and means you must do always what's in the best interest of your client. The old brokers, and many brokers are still on the what we call suitability issues, where you don't have to do everything that's best for your client, only that it's suitable for the client. So if you look at a client and you say, gee, I think that client ought to have cash value life insurance for their education, like Thaddeus over here with his little ones, maybe they should put a ton of money into a cash value insurance policy. Well, that might be suitable, but it's not a fiduciary duty, because fiduciary might say, no, he really needs a Section 529 funded by much cheaper, much more efficient, less expensive mutual funds, and they're protected by federal law in the Section 529, as opposed to throwing money in a cash value life insurance policy that is fraught with tons of hidden expenses, tons of hidden fees, that it may be suitable, but it's not fiduciary. A fiduciary must tell you all fees at all times. A suitability doesn't have to do that.
It would strike me, too, that I've known some financial planners who were also licensed brokers, and sometimes the advice that I've heard them give seems like it's more suitable to making the commissions as a broker than in my best interest. Can that happen?
Not only can it happen, it does. I mean, even last week, the commission, the Consumer Protection Commission, and the federal government got Wells Fargo for opening up over 1 million fraudulent accounts because they were incentivized. The employees at Wells Fargo were incentivized to make more money in their paychecks if they opened certain number of accounts. And they actually opened accounts in people's names without their acknowledgement, without their knowledge, completely fraudulent. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. It used to be where brokers would be paid more if they sold whatever, if it were a Merrill Lynch fund, which no longer takes place and no longer are there Merrill Lynch funds. But if it was a Merrill Lynch fund or a proprietary fund by any company, they would get a bigger commission and be paid more. Mm-hmm. Because our industry, and one of the things that keeps me so enthusiastic and going so strong after 25 plus years in the industry, because our industry is so attuned to our customers and our clients and so progressive, we have changed because the consumer and the clients requested it and demanded that we open up and we become fiduciaries, that we tell them we're transparent. We tell them all the fees. So I have to disclose all fees to my clients.
Okay, so now if someone were to come to you or someone like you, and you advise them to get involved with XYZ security, be that a mutual fund or a stock or an annuity or whatever it is, are you able to sell that? And if you sell that, do you make any commission on it?
Well, we don't call it selling anymore.
Okay, what do you call it?
As a fee-only independent financial planner, certified financial planner, we offer it. And there's a huge difference between selling and offering.
Okay, what is that difference, Brien?
Well, the difference is we can handle anything and everything that's out there in the investment world, in the insurance world, or anything like that. But we have professed as part of being a fiduciary that we will not make any more money off of offering one particular mutual fund or security as opposed to another one. Or for that matter, which is huge, We make no commissions whatsoever. A fee-only advisor and a fee-only certified financial planner makes no commissions whatsoever. They take away that conflict of interest, and that's huge in the industry.
So they're no longer tempted to churn your portfolio so they can make some extra money.
Exactly. Not only churn your portfolio, but offer you something that's really not the very best for you, but it makes a lot more money for the advisor or the financial planner, which is very much not in the fiduciary mode.
What is there an advantage to having a financial planner who offers these opportunities as opposed to one that doesn't? I'm not whether they make a commission. Let's say you got a choice between two financial planners, one of whom can just do the for fee, helping you with the financial planning, and the other one can do that and help you actually obtain the things that financial planner is recommending that you do, or to implement those plans.
Okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, when I first started out over 25 years ago in 1988, I was a commission stockbroker planner with American Express Financial Advisors and their predecessors, IDS. I have evolved purposely my practice for within 10 years. I went to what we call fee-based, and then about 10 years ago, I went completely fee-only. A fee-only financial planner can offer anything a commission planner or in the middle, a hybrid fee-based planner can offer. It's just how are you paid? When you're paid from a commission, you're paid from a third party.
Okay.
You're not paid from the client directly. You're paid from a third party, either the stockbroking company like a Wells Fargo or Merrill Lynch or whatever. They pay that broker and that financial advisor. So they decide how much they get paid. They decide how much each individual security is going to be paying that person. So they have all the power at the top, what I call top down, where the power is all with the brokering company, a Merrill Lynch, a Wells Fargo, whoever. A fee-only planner on the other side of the spectrum from the commission, they work with their client and they negotiate directly with their client because they're paid a fee directly from the client, whether the client writes a check directly to the planner and their firm, or they can take a non-taxable distribution from their investments to pay the planner.
I guess my question really was based on, are there certified financial planners who aren't able to offer the additional services that you're just talking about, as opposed, and some that do? Like you do, you're sort of cradle to grave on all of this thing.
Yes.
Whereas are there financial planners that can just say, this is what you need to do, and you have to go somewhere else to do it?
Yeah, there are some certified financial planners that are with brokerage firms. They're with banks. There are even some certified financial planners, albeit a lot less, with life insurance companies and annuity companies. They choose to go with other insurance designation as opposed to the broad CFP designation. They cannot. Based on their firm and what their firm has is called a sales agreement, they may be able to handle everything, and usually they can't. So Wells Fargo would not be able to handle something from TIAA CREF up at the university because they don't have a selling agreement with them.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
It has to be a contractual selling agreement. It is a contract between the home office company of, say, a Wells Fargo, Merrill Lynch, whoever, with the sponsoring company, like in this case, TIAA CREF.
I'm going to take a break just to inject something here. If you're hearing something that Brien is saying and you have a question for him or a comment, please call us at 85-LOVE-RED-C. That's 855-683-7332. And Brien, that little break gives me an opportunity to talk to you about, you have 2 or 3 entities that you, or names, corporate names that you go by. Can you tell us a little bit about those, and why do you have those different names, and what are their specific purposes?
Okay, and that's great question, Gene. I about 6 or 7 years ago, at the behest of then Father Mike Siss, now Bishop Mike Siss, I was asked to be on the Diocesan Investment Committee for the Diocese of Austin. When I got over to the Diocese of Austin, and the reason Bishop Siss called me at 5 o'clock on a Friday when I'm heading out the door trying to be with my family, was that I had asked him relentlessly and persistently to make sure that everything that St. Mary's, where he was at the time, was invested in a Catholic screened investment. In other words, we walked the walk of our talk on the pulpit. In other words, we didn't invest in companies that facilitated abortions. We didn't invest in prescription and pharmaceutical companies that did the day after pill. We didn't invest in companies that did pornography. We didn't invest in companies that did weapons of mass destruction. Well, it opened my eyes that if the diocese, with over $60 million that I help oversee now, didn't put that $60 million into Catholic screened investments and instead had it in secular investments that were propelling pornography, were propelling abortion, that were giving money to the day after pill. We have now changed that completely and have done it at the behest of Bishop Joe and then Vicar General Mike Siss, so that everything is completely Catholic screened now.
And you can have Catholic screened investments as a person also and still make money?
Oh, yes, you can. And not only make money, you can make as much as the secular investments. And that did not used to be the case.
There's a perspective that I've picked up, and I've heard from other people, that you sacrifice something by living your faith in your investments.
Not anymore. No, that was the case maybe 25, 30 years ago because so few people and so few money managers did the Catholic screening. Now, again, my industry and the financial services industry has listened to their clients, and the clients are demanding, we want socially responsible funds. We want Catholic screened funds. And almost every major money manager in this country does Catholic screening to their money management. And therefore, you have the best money managers giving you the performance and still keeping your fees very reasonable, if not lower than many of the secular funds.
Pardon my interruption on what you were saying. So where your appointment to the board for the diocese, where did that lead you professionally?
Well, it led me and opened my eyes that my current company, Traditions Wealth Advisors, that I've had since '88, we helped large companies, well, not companies, but high net worth individuals, large individuals, and small companies in this area who paid a fairly nice fee every year to allow us to be basically their CFO, their chief financial officer, and advise them. But I saw the handwriting on the wall that there were too many people that couldn't afford me, couldn't afford my services. So I had to choose, do I keep the lights on, pay for all my long-term employees, feed my family, or do I use my Catholic conscience and say, I need to go to the poor and I need to go to those people that can't afford me? So I opened up Spirit Stewardship Ministries. It is a 501c3 nonprofit company in which I teach financial literacy. And I teach the financial literacy to the masses at night and on the weekends when I'm not with my regular clients.
So this would possibly be the Catholic couple that has 3 children, mortgage, 2 cars that they're paying on, and maybe credit card debt that is high, and they don't know how they can make it to the next month because they're almost maxed out on their credit cards.
Exactly.
And what types of things do you tell them?
Well, we teach very similar to what the Protestant Dave Ramsey teaches, but we have taken a little bit different angle in the fact that we want to help them, going back to your example, pay off their debt as quickly as possible. But before we do that, we want them to maintain a cash reserve. Both in my secular life and now in my religious financial ministries life, someone who is in debt usually stays on debt, and they get on a treadmill, Gene, and they get on a treadmill where, they get onto debt and it's charging them 18, 21, 25%. So they want to pay it off as soon as possible, and they put all their discretionary income toward that debt, leaving no cash reserves whatsoever.
And from what little I've heard of Dave Ramsey, I've heard some of his things, that's almost what he proposes, isn't it, to the point of not having much reserve, but to get out of the debt first?
Well, he does ask you to have some reserves, just like we do from a Catholic perspective. Now, he is extremely adamant of paying off all debt, including mortgages, even to the point where he subscribes to you going out and getting a second and third job at night and on the weekends, if that's what it takes to pay off your mortgage. We're not as high on that. We don't want you to take time away from the family to take on a second and third job. However, we still want you to pay off that debt, especially non-appreciating debt. You shouldn't go out and buy a brand new car that's, $35,000, $40,000 when your income might be only that per year, because that BMW looks awful nice in your driveway. Instead, maybe you should look at the Chevrolet or the Toyota or the Honda or something like that. So we prescribe and subscribe very much similar to him, but say you have a piece of land that you want to build a house on someday, and that land, like most land, especially in this area, is an appreciating asset. We don't mind if you take a little bit of mortgage and a little bit of debt on that land, if that means you've paid off all your other debt. Whereas Dave Ramsey would say, no, I don't want any debt whatsoever. And if you can't afford that appreciating asset, like land, a lot or whatever, you can't buy it.
Well, now, you're not doing this on your own. There is somebody that is promoting the approach that you have.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, nationwide, and he's done relevant radio, and I know he's been on EWTN, is Phil Linehan. Phil, I took courses from Phil. Phil is a CPA, unlike Dave Ramsey, who is a real estate agent that went bankrupt, as a matter of fact. And after he went bankrupt, he found Jesus, and he mainly went to the evangelical churches, and now he's spread out throughout the nation. Phil Linehan is more an analyst than a salesman, like Dave Ramsey. Phil is a CPA. Phil is a true Catholic with 7 kids and believes and lives his Catholic faith and his Catholic stewardship. Phil believes in paying down debt. Phil believes in building cash reserves, and now Phil has gone further and help educate his 7 kids because they are now starting to get to the college age.
Well, it sounds like Phil's approach is what I think is a more Catholic approach, in that the Catholic Church teaches balance in your life.
Yes.
And so sometimes things you have to judge which is the best thing to do at any particular time and be willing to pay whatever that price is. But that as a father or a husband or wife or father or mother, the family is so important.
Oh, sure. It must be. And that's another thing I like about Phil and some of the other Catholic teachers in this area of stewardship, is that they live their faith. Dave Ramsey has a 40,000 square foot house valued in over $5 million in Tennessee, with a net worth of over $55 million, and he continues to charge huge prices when you go down to the Energy Stadium, when you go down to up to AT&T Cowboy Stadium for his big rallies. He charges a lot of money for that. Phil does not do that. Phil does most of his counseling at base price, cost to him, either in person or over the phone or in a webinar series. So I have a lot of problems with Dave starting out great. I like a lot of the stuff Dave Ramsey does. He has good practices and whatnot. He does say that he tithes the 10% of his gross, which is good and must be a huge number unless, he keeps his income down. But he is starting to build a kingdom of local providers, and we have some local providers from Dave Ramsey in this community, and some of them, he makes some money off those local providers when they provide to some of his clients from his radio and TV programs.
Possibly a lot of the people that are listening to us today are not, I've heard of Dave Ramsey because his programs are promoted in some of the Catholic churches.
Yes.
But they probably haven't heard of Phil Lenahan. How are they going to find out about Phil Lenahan?
Well, hopefully from this radio spot, for one. But Phil is not the salesman that Dave Ramsey is, and he's not the promoter, unfortunately. But through my spirit companies, we are ramping up, and we are doing more and more promotion for stewardship, for ministries. And stewardship is nothing more on a Catholic standpoint of God's providence, divine providence. We came into this world with nothing. We will leave it materially with nothing. Everything that we have has been given to us by God.
And so we're just stewards of what he's given us.
We are stewards only.
It's like the three men in the parable of the talents, and the talent is a measure of weight, or was a measure of weight at that point in time, which I think was about 75 pounds. So they were given 75 pounds of gold or silver to take care of, which was a significant sum. And when we think about everything we got from God, whatever we have from God is a significant gift.
Right.
So the question then becomes, what are you going to do with it, right?
Exactly. And that's a huge part of stewardship. It's what do you give, what do you do with God's gifts? Do you squander them away like the talents and the parable of the talents? Or do you do what God said, and God continually reiterates in the Bible, you become a good steward of his resources. And what I've done in addition to Spirit Stewardship Ministries is open a second spirit company. We call them collectively the spirit companies, in which it's called Spirit Fiduciary Partners, that we go out to churches, and churches of all faiths, but the Catholic churches need it the first. We go out to dioceses, we go out to foundations, and we help them manage their money based on the teachings of their entity. I have several Church of Christ churches that I work with.
And that's amazing.
And Church of Christ people are my number one tithers. They tithe 10%, just like in the Bible with Abraham, 10% off the top religiously. They're extremely good and generous people. Unfortunately, my Catholics are way down the totem pole and only average about 1.8% of tithing.
Which is what our friend Matthew Kelly has told us too in several of the books that many of us have read.
Exactly. And hence the need for Spirit Stewardship Ministries and teaching not only those people with smaller means and maybe lower socioeconomic means, but even the more wealthy that aren't tithing the 10%.
Well, if somebody's in this condition that we were talking about earlier about the family with the 3 children and the mountain of debt, they just can't see how they can really give anything other than what I used in my day when I was growing up was called the $2 a week Catholic. And so I'm guessing that as part of this whole process, you're telling folks how they can start small and build even in their donation. It's not that you look at it, he's asking me to give 10% of what I've got right now, and I can't do that now. And it's really true. They can't give 10% at that point in time.
Well, that's correct. But it's all about behaviors. And we study a lot of, and it's big in our industry, of financial behaviors and psychology of behaviors. And the couple and the family that's in debt, they're in debt for a reason. Their behavior previously has not been such. And now they're not only in debt, material things, but now they're in debt to the Lord because they can't afford to tithe where they should be. So we'll go in and we'll help them look at their budget and do cash flow statements for them, and try and help them and say, okay, here's some things maybe you could do without. Here's how we're going to rearrange your debt so that you can pay that down. But also, we're going to look and we're going to rearrange your priorities. You need to pay God first. That's part of stewardship. So maybe we're going to set up a bank account that takes from their payroll immediately. I know my wife and I do this on some of our escrow accounts where we don't escrow at the house for insurance and taxes so that we don't forget about it. We set up a separate bank account, and I have clients that do this for every little thing, including their car insurance and everything else. They set up a separate bank account that comes directly out of their paycheck immediately before it goes into their checking account or savings account or anywhere they could spend it. So it goes directly into a savings account or a credit union or whatever, and it is set up strictly for the church. It's set up strictly for your property taxes at the end of the year. It's set up strictly for your lump sum car or homeowner's insurance so that you don't have to pay an exorbitant amount of fees along the way. So we can do that also with your church tithing. Let's set it up first, get it out of your paycheck, and then we'll also work at the same time on lowering your debt and getting you in a place where you need to be so that you are doing good stewardship according to God's will, not according to man's materialistic will.
Okay, that really addresses the people that can't really distinguish between their wants and their needs.
Exactly.
What do you say to the person, or how can you help a person who maybe lost a job or has had significant medical expenses in which they are really in a financial bind, and they may have been doing most of the right things in the past? How can you help somebody like that?
Now that's tough, and there's no quick fixes on any of this.
Oh, so I don't put it in the microwave and push 60 and come out with...
No, afraid not, Gene, afraid not. No, we, in the first place, as part of a certified financial planning practitioner, we look at their protection planning and their all their protection planning, all the way from their liabilities on the homeowners and the car down to what's their health insurance. And we help our clients with the benefits. We also go over that in the Spirit Stewardship Ministries literacy teaching as well, so that hopefully we prevent them from having that problem in the first place. However, when that happens, and that unfortunately happens to too many people, and sometimes it can't be avoided, then we go in and we have to work it out with them, with the hospital, with the payor at the hospital.
So you actually do the negotiations with their creditors?
Well, we'll help. We'll help. We won't do all the negotiations, especially with all the new HIPAA, privacy acts and whatnot. A lot of medical companies and servants will not allow us private information on our clients.
Okay.
But we'll help the clients. We'll guide them. We'll play their financial quarterback, and help guide them and tell them what to say, what not to say, what the laws are about how much they can be hassled by collections and collectors and things like that. There are specific laws that protect them from midnight calls from the hospital, why they haven't paid their bill this month. So we help them with stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So what do you say to the person that's listening here that says, oh, this all sounds very good, but it just sounds so complicated, and I may be struggling financially, but I'm comfortable with where I am. It's the old expression, you're more comfortable with the devil you know than the devil you don't know.
That's true. And that's why we put on classes that are very low cost, and in some cases, I only ask for donations. You can come and go as you please, but it's proven that if you work with an individual, not only do you gain more in your investments, but then in the down times, Friday when the markets went down almost 400 points, you have somebody there to guide you, somebody there to act as a sounding board to make sure you don't panic and sell your assets at the wrong time, or that you don't put too much pay off your credit cards too much at the whim or at the relief of your cash reserves that you need for the next car wreck or for the next time the air conditioner breaks down. And if you don't have the cash reserves, what happens? It goes right back on a 21% credit card, and now you're further in deep in debt, and you're back on that turntable.
So let's say I'm somebody that's listening to this. Say, well, you keep talking about these classes, Brien. Where are they, and how do I find out about them, and how frequently do you offer them? Or
I will offer them to any church, any nonprofit, 501c3, any VFW hall that wants them. They just need to call my office.
So let's say, for example, that even maybe Red Sea Radio wanted to offer this to their listeners that were interested. So we could do that if we could find a place to do it.
Exactly. We sure could.
Or if somebody else has a group, maybe the Golden Age Club at some Catholic church here would want to do
Actually,
that.
I have spoke to the age managers over at St. Joseph's last year on this very subject.
Now, the other thing that occurs to me is that it's all well and good to hear all this, but do you also have as a part of that support groups for people who are struggling with this that they can encourage each other, or is it strictly you and the class, and then after the class is over, there's nothing?
No. In fact, Phil Linehan, who I really used as a mentor in this, really strongly suggests that you stay connected with your peers. And in fact, if we do phone interviews and phone group counseling, everybody's on at the same time and everybody can hear everybody. Now, we are sworn to secrecy. We're sworn to privacy, of course.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a peer helping session as well.
So I don't have to go in there and say my name is Gene W. and I'm a spending addict.
No. But we'll give you the 12 steps anyway, Gene.
Okay, that would be good. I probably need them. Okay, so where would they go for the information about how to get one of these, or where you're offering these? So even at the Church of Christ, a Catholic could go to the Church of Christ thing.
Sure.
So how does somebody get that information?
What they need to do is go to either my website or Phil Linehan's website and go to spiritstewardshipministries.org. spiritstewardshipministries.org.
That's a lot to spell.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a long one. But if you'll Google for it, it's .org. Or you can go to Phil's website, which is Veritas, or the truth, veritasfinancialministries.org.
Okay. And I looked the last couple of weeks, and I didn't see your little blurb on the back of a couple of the bulletins, but you've been known to do that as well, the church bulletins.
It should have been there.
I don't remember seeing
They were there. They were there.
Well, I probably overlooked them because that's something I needed to see.
Well, they should be there, both at St. Mary's and St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Joseph's.
Okay.
I cover all three areas, and I'd be happy to do St. Anthony's and Santa Teresa's as well.
So if you're a Catholic and listening to this, you should be, if you're more observant than I am, you should be able to find it on the little ad section on the back of the bulletin.
Exactly.
You get all of this. Or, as he said, Google Veritas Financial Services or
Financial Ministries.
Financial Ministries,
right. Or Spirit Stewardship Ministries.
Okay.
.org.
We've got about 3.5 minutes. So.
Oh, is that all?
That's
wow,
right.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It sure is, and I can tell you're having fun. We've talked about a lot of things. In the last 3.5 or so minutes, what have we not talked about, or how would you summarize what you said that goes beyond what we said so far? Is there anything that I have omitted in asking you about? No,
I don't think so, Gene. I'd just say do your homework, do your due diligence. Don't sign up with somebody before. There's a website at one of the federal groups called FINRA, called BrokerCheck. Go to BrokerCheck. I think it's brokercheck.com, but it might be brokercheck.org. You can see my history going back 25 plus years, anybody's history. Check us out. Start there, but don't end there. check us out, ask for references. We are all required to give up front what's called a Form ADV. We have to file this every year and update it both with the state and the SEC. And ADV only stands for advisor. It gives our background above and beyond the broker check. It says who we are, what our education is, what our background is as far as in the industry. Do we have a CFP? Do we have something else? Broker check will tell you, have we ever had complaints by previous brokers? And you would be our previous clients of the broker. You would be shocked at how many people have complaints.
Well, yes. And some of them were things that maybe didn't need to be complained about, and some of them were.
Well, and some of them are huge, and you want to make sure that you look at this in first and foremost, because unfortunately, a huge trend in this industry over the last 25 plus years that I've enjoyed it is we are becoming much more a sales industry.
Yes.
You go to Northwestern Mutual, you go to any of the life insurance companies, they're no longer agents. They're financial planners.
Well, that's an interesting name, but I can call myself whatever I want to, can't I?
Unfortunately, you can. Financial planning is a term that is not regulated, nor is financial advisor. Fortunately, certified financial planner is regulated. Start there, work only with a CFP, but also I would highly recommend working with fee only. Having come from 25 years ago in the commission industry, evolved through fee-based hybrid commission and fee only, and now all the way to fee only. It is the purest, best way to have a financial advisor that you can if you're okay paying for that financial advisor. You're going to pay us one way or the other. You're either going to pay us and not see it, or you're going to pay us and see it right up front and see the transparency and be able to tell your financial advisor, your certified financial planner, hey, this is too high, this fee. Why is it so high?
Okay, so we'll get to that. I'm going to end up a little bit early, and you can leave early. I thank you so much, Brien.
Oh, my pleasure,
And
Gene.
one more time, where to go to get this information?
Go to Spirit Stewardship Ministries.org.
Okay. And Brien, I wish you well on your trip to Houston today, and I'm going to have you back because it just seems like we didn't get everything talked about.
And I'd love to come back, Gene. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brien.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And I understand we have somebody on the line that wants to talk with us. I thought you had somebody there. Okay. So, again, thank you again, Brien, and we will be back next week with Red Sea Roundup. Who is our host next week, and do you know what the topic is?
We'll have the delightful Pam Marvin in the host chair next week, and that's she's going to have Ann Boehm on to talk about NAPRO technology.
Ann is a very interesting individual.
Yes, she's a very, very engaging individual as well.
Yes, she is.
So it'll be a good episode next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And for all of you here, want you to know that when you're choosing between the values of heaven and the values of the world, always round up.